What Caitlin Clark walked into this season wasn't just a league trying to survive. It was a league trying to reinvent itself in real time, scrambling to keep up with a superstar whose presence had detonated every expectation about what women's basketball could be. The WNBA tried to capitalize on her arrival by stacking the Fever's schedule with some of the toughest matchups in the shortest windows, believing that maximizing her visibility meant maximizing revenue. And in a way, it worked. Ratings exploded. Arenas filled. Merchandise vanished from shelves. But beneath that surge was a deeper, far more uncomfortable truth. The league's greatest financial windfall was being carried on the shoulders of a rookie making less than many part-time employees. All while the system around her strained under pressure it was never built to handle. Everywhere she went, Caitlin transformed the environment. Cities that hadn't cared about the WNBA in a decade suddenly buzzed with electricity. Opposing teams used her as the headliner on promotional material because her name alone could sell out an arena. The feverish demand for tickets became so overwhelming that even Clark herself joked she couldn't afford season tickets for her own team, only for the moment to shift into stunned silence as she admitted that the cost nearly matched her entire salary. It wasn't bitterness. It wasn't complaint. It was an accidental moment of truth where the disconnect between her value and her paycheck could no longer be politely hidden behind league statements or marketing slogans. Because the numbers told the real story. Over 1,000% increase in jersey sales. Concession sales tripling. National broadcasts quadrupling their viewership the second Clark stepped onto the court. Each stat a reminder that she wasn't just participating in the league. She was carrying it. And yet, the player responsible for the largest financial boom in league history continued to receive a salary that would barely register on the median income scale of most major cities. It was unsustainable. It was absurd. And it was the catalyst for a conversation that had been avoided for far too long. But the strain didn't stop at finances. It seeped into the officiating, the scheduling, the discourse, and even the way other players approached her. In one game, frustrated by her own missed shots, she lightly punched the basket stanchion, only to be immediately slapped with a technical foul for what the referee called disrespect to the game. A rookie, carrying the weight of an entire league on her back, was penalized for showing competitive fire. Yet Clark handled it with composure, taking responsibility, turning the moment inward, using the criticism as motivation. It was the kind of response that marked her not just as a great player, but as someone destined to redefine what leadership looked like in women's sports. She followed that moment with historic production. Assists piled up. Scoring records fell. Triple-double buzz grew louder every night. Opponents began adjusting their rotations in desperation, even pulling entire starting units to prevent her from reaching milestones that were clearly within reach. It wasn't strategy. It was insecurity dressed up as coaching. And it did nothing but highlight how threatening her greatness felt to a system not prepared for change this fast, this dramatically, or this undeniably. But the loudest echoes came when Team USA released its roster, and her name wasn't on it. The league's biggest draw, the sport's brightest star, the athlete responsible for global attention was left off the Olympic stage. Analysts brushed it aside with talk of experience and chemistry, but fans knew better. This wasn't about merit. It was about discomfort. It was about a league and a team struggling to reconcile the old guard with a new era. Clark didn't complain. She didn't lash out. She went back to work, racking up Player of the Week honors, delivering unforgettable performances, and lifting a rebuilding franchise into playoff contention. Her response made the snub look even more absurd than it already was. And still, through all of this, people insisted on comparing her to Angel Reese, as if the conversation should be about rivalry instead of revolution. Reese has been outstanding, a relentless force redefining rookie toughness. But comparing her success to Clark's phenomenon is like comparing a spark to a wildfire. Clark isn't redefining rookie seasons. She's redefining what an entire league can be. She has elevated the floor beneath every player, every franchise, every broadcaster, and every ticket vendor. Yet instead of supporting her ascent, some players seem more invested in tearing her down. Cheap shots on dead balls, calculated collisions, targeted foul attempts. The envy is so transparent it can be felt through the television screen. But Clark doesn't retaliate. She absorbs it, redirects it, and continues to push the sport forward. She addresses travel conditions not to complain, but to advocate for the women who came before her and those who will come after. She uses her platform to advocate for better treatment, safer environments, and fair compensation. And when the league buckled under the pressure of public scrutiny and finally introduced charter flights, it wasn't because executives suddenly saw the light. It was because Clark forced the conversation into a place too visible to ignore. And the resentment. It persists because change always exposes insecurity. Clark's brilliance is a mirror, reflecting the uncomfortable truth that the league was not built to support a star of her magnitude. And now that she's here, everything must evolve, whether players, coaches, or executives want it to or not. The most staggering part is that the WNBA already knows the truth. The numbers are undeniable. Clark's presence equals money. Her games equal ratings. Her energy equals evolution. She is a catalyst for the league's first real opportunity to become a mainstream powerhouse. But that opportunity comes with responsibility the league has been slow to embrace. Because if they don't adjust salaries, improve conditions, and modernize the structure, someone else will swoop in and offer the ecosystem Clark deserves. Maybe a rival league. Maybe a global organization. Maybe an entirely new financial model that leaves the WNBA scrambling to keep up. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She's a crossroads. A moment in time where everything either changes or collapses under the weight of its own refusal to adapt. And right now, she's handling the pressure with more grace, poise, and professionalism than many of the veterans who have spent years demanding respect from an audience that finally showed up because of her. So the question becomes simple. How long will the league pretend this is normal? How long will players allow jealousy to overshadow progress? How long will executives cling to outdated systems while a generational superstar tries to drag the sport into a new era? Whatever happens next, one thing is clear. Caitlin Clark has already changed women's basketball forever. And there is absolutely no going back. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think the WNBA has done enough to support its biggest star? Should the pay structure be overhauled immediately, or is the league moving too slowly to match the moment? Drop your thoughts down in the comments.